Boys and girls, we're going to read Simple Machines today. Now, this is a different kind of a story. It's informational and it tells us a lot about different types of things that we use every day, and they are called Simple Machines. This book is written by Aaron Seagraves and Heather Baker. Okay? Hi, my name is Amma, and I live in an apartment building in the city. I love living in my building because I get to visit all my interesting neighbors. Let's see what they're doing today. That's Mr. Salgado, who is here to clean the windows on the outside of our building. He uses a seat on a rope to reach them. Mr. Salgado uses a pulley to raise and lower his seat. See that? And here's an example of a pulley. This is our first simple machine. A pulley is a type of simple machine that uses a rope and a small wheel to help raise and lower things. The pulley helps Mr. Salgado move up and down the outside of the building. Pulling down on the rope makes it easier to lift something heavy. Sometimes pulleys have more than one wheel. The more wheels a pulley has, the easier it is to lift the things. I smell something good baking down the hall. Mrs. D'Angelo is baking fresh bread again. I stop by her apartment and she offers me a big slice. Yum! Mrs. D'Angelo uses a knife to slice the bread that she baked. See? A knife is a wedge, which is a type of simple machine that splits things apart. Wedges are shaped like triangles. Wedges can be big like an axe, or they can be small like the tip of a nail. Teeth, doorstops, and forks are also examples of wedges. My mom and I are visiting with our neighbor, Mrs. Howard, and her son, Treadle. Treadle and I want to play with his toy cars, but the wheel and axle is broken on one of them. Looky here. A wheel and axle is a type of simple machine that helps move things like cars, wagons, and wheelbarrows. So this is the wheel, and this is the axle. The axle goes through the middle of the wheel, and the wheel and axle turn together to move things. A wheelbarrow has one wheel and axle, but a tractor-trailer can have as many as 9 axles and 18 wheels. Instead of playing with toy cars, Treadle and I decide to make paper snowflakes. Out of what? Colorful paper. We first fold the paper and then cut out small shapes using scissors. Scissors are a type of lever, which is a simple machine. A lever is a rod or a bar that pivots at a point called the fulcrum. The fulcrum can be in the middle of the lever or at the end of the lever. Scissors are made of 2 levers with a fulcrum that joins them together in the middle. Later on, I meet my friend Jack down at the playground behind our apartment building. My favorite thing at the playground is the seesaw. Jack loves it too. Now look at the seesaw. It's a lever. The end of the seesaw moves up and down because they are another type of lever, one that has a fulcrum in the middle. When the weight on both sides of the lever is the same, the lever stays level or is balanced. When more weight is put on one side, that side goes down and the other side goes up. A balance scale is another example of this type of lever. On my way back inside, I meet Mrs. Jacqueline. Miss Jacqueline, well, she's moving into our building today. She has a lot of boxes, and she is moving them off the moving truck by walking them down the ramp. If she couldn't use the ramp to unload her boxes, she would have to climb in and out of the truck with every box, and that would take a long time. Now, as you can see, using that, it's an inclined plane. A ramp is a type of a simple machine called an inclined plane. An inclined plane is a flat surface that is higher on one side. There are different types of inclined planes. There are ramps, ladders, and playgrounds. Slides, they're all examples of inclined planes. Mr. Perron is the handyman. He's the handyman in our building, and he stops by for the knob on our door. I ask if I can help too. Mr. Perron uses a screwdriver to put a new doorknob on our door and uses screws to hold them in place. A screw is a type of simple machine that is used to hold things together. Screws have threads. Do you see the threads around them that keep them securely in place? The top of a screw is called the head. A screwdriver fits perfectly into the notch on the head of a screw so you can turn it and tighten it into place. That evening I noticed that my lamp needs a new light bulb so my dad and I can read my bedtime stories. I asked my dad to replace the light bulb for me. My dad takes out the old light bulb and screws in a new one, and now we have enough light to read my bedtime stories. A light bulb has a screw on one end that holds it in place. Instead of using a screwdriver, this type of screw is screwed in by turning it with your hand. Bottle tops, jar lids, and toothpaste caps are all examples of screws. It's fun to live in my building. I get to see my neighbors every day. They do lots of interesting things, and sometimes I get to help. Okay, so today, boys and girls, I want you to look around your house, just like our little friend did here, and look for simple machines. Is it a pair of scissors? Is it an inclined plane like you do with playing with blocks sometimes? Is it as simple as screwing in a light bulb? Or a screw in a bulb? A screw that you might use to work on attaching something. Miss Sue uses a lot of screws in her house. So I know you can find lots of things that are simple machines. And so today, I hope that opened a new avenue learning about simple machines. Next, we're going to read the story today about water called Busy Boats. Look at our two friends here. Here we have, it looks like a rabbit and maybe a mole or a mouse. We're going to find out. The story's written by Tony Mitten and Aunt Parker. Busy Boats. It's a scholastic book. Boats are really wonderful for sailing us around. They travel through the water with a slippy, sloppy sound. It's fun to go out boating, especially in the sun. The water's cool and sparkly. So come on, everyone. A boat sits on the water like an empty bowl or cup. It's hollow and it's full of air, and that's what keeps it up. An anchor holds you steady when you're bobbing in a bay. You wind a chain to raise it, and when you want to sail away. Over lakes and seas and rivers, winds blow very strong. Some boats have sails to catch it, so it pushes them along. To handle boats with masts and sails, the captain is the one in charge who tells them what to do. You see the captain? A dinghy or a rowboat is useful near the shore. You make it travel backward by pulling on each oar. A motorboat is powered by propeller from the back. It whooshes through the water and leaves a foamy track. And just in case by accident you tumble from the boat, you have to wear a life jacket made to help you float. Always wear your life jackets, boys and girls. Some boats are built for fishing where the ocean waves are steep. Their nets are cast to catch the fish, then haul them from the deep. A ship can carry cargo, which is loaded on the dock. Heave ho! Look out below! Here comes a giant box. A ferry carries cars and trucks to where they need to go. See, the ferry boat carries cars and trucks. The people travel up above. The vehicles stay below. A mighty ocean liner has a big and busy crew. It carries many passengers. They're waving now. Yoo-hoo! The ship has cozy cabins where the passengers can stay, and out on deck they stroll around and watch the sea or play. But when the journey's over, ahoy! The lighthouse rock. The ship glides into harbor and ties up at the dock. All right, so that's another interesting story, this time about different types of boats, and it's called Busy Boats. Those are our stories for today. In just a minute, we'll get started on our NTI activities.